I'm Dr. Erin Elliott.
And I'm Jason Tierney.
I'm a dentist.
And I'm a dilettante. And we're going to talk about sleep matters because
sleep matters.
Hey, everybody. I am Dr. Erin Elliott, and here is my co-host,
Jason Tierney.
And our podcast is called Sleep Matters, where we talk about sleep matters because
sleep matters.
There it is, folks. It occurred to us that many of you may not exactly know who we are. And we wanted to take some time to kind of share about our journeys, why we're here to talk about sleep matters, and how it came to be that we know each other. So, Jason, why don't you start us out with your incredible life and journey that has led you to Scottsdale, Arizona, and on this podcast?
Yeah, I don't know how riveting it is, but here we go. So I was born January 19th, 1975. Everybody sitting down. No, I got into the dental sleep medicine field about 20 years ago. I was in a leadership role at a large dental laboratory, and we didn't make any sleep devices at the time. Not a lot of places did. There were still, nascent treatment modalities. And we had a sizable number of dentists inquire about these snore appliances, right? So started doing a little bit of research to find out what was out there, and we introduced the tap appliance. Um, I was fortunate in that got to spend a lot of time with Dr. Thornton, the inventor, and with the team down there at Airway Management. Um, so I learned a lot about not just about the device itself, but about sleep apnea. And, I've got sort of an obsessive brain. So once I learn about anything or something about anything, I want to learn
Dog on a
everything.
bone.
Yeah. So I was gnawing at that bone and wanted to learn everything I could about sleep apnea, about, about sleep in general. And threw myself into that, eventually decided that, we need to introduce a second device. So we introduced the EMA, and I got to know Dr. Friends, the inventor of the EMA, really well. And, just through that, really got introduced to a lot of the, sort of the key opinion leaders, the, some of the proverbial gurus in sleep medicine and dental sleep medicine in particular. Spent time in sleep labs, just learning everything I possibly could. Eventually then started hosting a lot of CE courses, actually delivering some myself.
In St.
And
Louis, correct?
in St. Louis, Missouri. Where I spent 4 decades. And I really came to understand through, my time with those people that I mentioned, but also through just reading so much of the research, really came to understand how important sleep is as a pillar of health, and how, pretty much everything that we do is impacted by sleep. And I remember, in particular, reading one study about how, well, it wasn't a study, but reading some factoids about how sleep deprivation, and, it was being compared to, drowsy driving was being compared to drunk driving. And as someone who in a past life, 19 years sober now, drove after drinking many times, that scared the heck out of me, and really, kind of leveled up my passion for trying to help more dentists, help more people. Um, Eventually left the dental, or actually while at the dental lab, developed my own device that lab still manufactures and
I was going
sells.
to make sure you mentioned that.
Yeah, yeah. And went to work for a dental sleep software company, an EMR, helped grow that business pretty considerably. And, during all of this, my other interests, um, benefited my career. So I like to read a lot. I've got a background in marketing and sales. So all of these things sort of coalesced um, in conjunction with, having the good fortune of making all these connections like yourself, where I was really able to, grow these businesses that helped dentists help more people. And I don't know, 6 years ago or so, I started Transform Dental Sleep. Um, we host an annual meeting uh, where we bring together the best and the brightest in dental sleep medicine to learn together and grow together. And I don't know.
Hang out.
Worked for some dental sleep magazines, started an online publication, wrote a book on dental sleep medicine, called
How
Transform Dental
many of you
Sleep.
can
So
say that?
yeah,
Jason, you said, your interests are reading, but you are, and you still won't accept this from me, but you are my favorite author. And so writing must have been somewhere in your past too. Has it always been that way? Like high school?
yeah. I mean, I could tell you, freshman year of high school, it was in English class, and we read Lord of the Flies as a class, and my teacher, really taught us to read allegorically. What does this conch shell symbolize? And that opened my mind up to literature as art, to reading and writing as an art form. So yeah, I've always written. Um, I've ghost written for over the years. Ghost written so many articles for people. Um, but more, yeah, you said it, not me. Or you didn't say anything actually. Anybody that's anybody that's not watching this just
Let's
missed
just
that.
say I come up with the skeleton of that, but you really, really helped me.
It's a brittle skeleton sometimes, Erin. Like, that skeleton needs some calcium.
Yes, yes.
No, 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 no. But yeah, and I have always appreciated the written word and the art form that it is, and you know I've just, yeah, I've always dabbled in writing, but over the last few years, I've taken it more seriously, and it's something I'm not really comfortable with. It's always, when you put something out into the world like that, especially with the Transform Dental Sleep book, you're creating this thing from nothing, and there's a lot of humor and I would say kind of my own personality in there. It's not a dry textbook. So there's a lot of me in there, and sharing that with the world, you're opening yourself up to criticism, and it's a little scary, but fortunately it's been pretty well received. And um, I'm working on the follow-up to that book right now.
Oh, good. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I will say when I was reading it, I literally LOL'd. I
Yeah.
didn't ROFL, but I literally did laugh out loud.
Did you RO anyway, I'm trying to
Rolling on the
recall.
floor laugh.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, we try to stay hip. Actually, you are hip. Just even looking at your house, the artwork that you have and the music that you listen to, art is definitely part of your life. I when you're at the lab, you don't get to see the patients. And I know for many of us in the dental field, we're face to face with patients. We're in the trenches per se.
Mhm,
And we get to see these transformations.
mhm,
The people that are like tears in their eyes, like in people that are coming in raving and excited.
mhm.
What kept you going when you didn't get that same type of feedback? You had to deal with probably dentists love to blame the lab guy, by the way. You're our fall guy for a
Yeah.
lot of
Oh, yeah,
things.
I know, I could tell you some stories. I could tell you some stories. You
But
know
something kept you going.
yeah, there were a few things. One of them was that, you would hear these success stories from dentists, right? Um, they would call you. I mean, especially back then, 20 years ago, dentists would call and say, I made one of those tap things for this guy, and he came in crying, saying him and his wife are sleeping together. I don't know why everybody talks in that accent when 20 years ago, but
Like, yeah.
that's how everybody talked back then.
Yeah.
Uh, so you'd hear a lot of those stories. But another thing that I did at the lab was I would have dentists come in and speak during our team meetings. So we'd have, 50 people or whatever in these team meetings. So this lab that I was at, it was large enough where you had these business units, and I headed up this specialty business unit. So it was bites, splints, and sleep appliances. That was all we did. So in our department, we had 50, 60 employees, and they ran the gamut from technicians to salespeople to, we had our own marketing people. But we'd have these meetings every week, and I would bring dentists in. And these dentists would come in and share their real life experiences with our products. And we would share the good, the bad, and the ugly. So it's like, look, when you guys don't set this bite right, this is what happens, and this patient had to drive from 3 hours away, and they don't
Mhm.
drive anymore. So they had to get a ride and da 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 da. And this is, before the advent of digital impressions and everything.
Mhm.
So, it's like had to reappoint this patient. Um, then another thing that we did or that I did was, the people that were customer facing, so the people that were talking with dentists, our technical sales team, our customer service team, I arranged with local dentists in St. Louis, one of them being Stacy Becker, shout out Stacy Becker, um, would send those team members to shadow in their office for a day. Because one of the things that really what I'm talking about here is empathy, right?
Mhm.
One of the things these customer service people, they go, I keep calling, Dr. Elliott about this case, but she won't get on the phone and they keep saying she's busy. And it's like, okay, well, you're going to go spend a day in Dr. Elliott's office, and you're going to come back with a little more compassion
Mhm.
about what her life looks like, you know? And then they would get to see that these patients, experience these patient success stories, but they'd also get to see the other side, these things that you see every day, that you experience every day, and they'd come back with a little better understanding of what a day in your life looks like, which would give them some compassion and
That's a great
help
idea.
them do their jobs better.
Mhm. For
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, that's and I admire your tenacity, and I know sometimes the zeal can come and go, but we all just keep trudging along, and no matter what obstacles get put in our way, it's like we're gonna find a way to overcome them or go around them or under them or
yeah, through
whatever
them,
it
whatever.
takes.
Yeah,
And you definitely get to keep your pulse on the dental sleep medicine world because you met your wife through dental sleep medicine. And your wife happens to be one of the most radiant, beautiful people I know that makes everyone happy wherever she is. And that's why you're here in Scottsdale today, correct?
true story. Yeah, and Scottsdale's home, and she is. Uh, a light. She is amazing, and she is ridiculous all at the same time. She is she is the most ridiculous human being I've ever known, and, anyone that knows her would attest to that. Yeah, she's amazing.
And
Shout out
yeah, the
Lisi.
sense of humor, there's something about being unique in a world that is really nice, and she and you are 2 of those people.
Yeah, for a long time, I really tried to, sort of suppress my uniqueness
Mhm.
in a professional environment. Dentistry, I think most people would agree, or dental sleep medicine in particular, is pretty staid and, kind of sober and boring.
Boring.
Yeah, boring as hell. And, When I started Transform Dental Sleep, no longer was I beholden. No longer would my actions potentially impact an employer, negatively or positively. It was all on me. So it's like, well, I feel like, I talked to someone today that said, you've sort of earned your stripes, Jason. And if, you know, you, you've earned your stripes. You're, what do you say? You're a made man, in the dental sleep
Damn.
world. So you can do your thing.
You
So,
can let your freak flag fly?
I think that's
I'm
what they
just
say.
kidding.
Yeah. Thanks for the alliteration there. I always appreciate some good
Although
alliteration.
you could describe yourself as quirky, right?
Yeah.
I
Oh, yeah,
love
yeah.
I love it all. I love it all. And Transform really is unique. So if no one's ever been, I feel like I'm like, "Oh, finally I can actually learn and just interact with such an energetic, positive vibe." And it's in Scottsdale, one of my favorite places. So,
Yeah.
if you have not been, you better join next year. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. It's fun. It's great meeting. We focus, so many meetings in dental sleep medicine fall into one of two categories. They're either um, pure academia with very little application to, real world, or they are just sales meetings, sort of masquerading as education. And I wanted to be sure that we have energetic speakers, people that are experienced speakers that know how to talk from the stage and keep, an audience engaged, but that also have practical information with actionable takeaways. And, it's such like a cliche, like, take home stuff you can use on Monday, but I'm serious, and like in a lot of our promotional materials, it'll say something like, if you put into practice 10% of what you learn at this meeting, you will have a more successful practice guaranteed. Like I would be willing, actually, I'm going to say this. I would be willing to offer a money back refund, a money back guarantee that's the truth. If you just put into practice 10% of what you learned at the meeting, you will have a more successful, more productive, more profitable practice. And we bring together like the best of the best. They're fun people that are actually doing this stuff. It's something I've always heard from the vendors is they're like, we're so accustomed to going to dental sleep meetings, and so many of the people there are these kind of neophytes that
Yeah.
don't know what they don't know.
Or
And they're
they've
like, yeah,
or they've learned everything they can and do one appliance a month
yes.
if they don't know
And they're
what to do.
like, and the vendors say like the people that come to this meeting, like they know what they're doing, they know what they're talking about, and they're truly looking for solutions to sort of take it to the next level. So, I mean, all of that feels good. I mean, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to bring together good people so we can learn together, grow together, and help more people. And it sounds
I
like
would like
mostly
to
we're making
hear
the mark.
I would love to hear, like, interview past attendees and say, "Okay, what did you apply?" What
Yeah.
I would just be curious.
Well, I mean, like I've talked about this a fair amount because it's a big deal to me. Max Kerr, our friend Max Kerr,
Mhm.
uh, at the first TDS meeting, he gave a presentation on EOS, an entrepreneurial operating system, and how he's used that to uh, create processes in their practice. And frankly, it was not. We have a post meeting survey. It was not one of the better received lectures at that meeting. Having said that, a handful of some of the largest dental sleep practices in the country heard that lecture and said, we need to incorporate this into what we're doing. They hired EOS implementers, and they'll tell you it totally transformed their practices. Now, these are the people that are already the upper
Best of the
echelon,
best.
the best of the
Mhm.
best. And they're saying, we came to this meeting, learned something we knew nothing about, incorporated it, and it's entirely improve, it's improved our businesses dramatically. Like that to me, like to know that, and not to be corny here, to know that that was a win for them at every level, meaning they're making a whole lot more money. They're living with a whole lot less headache in their businesses, and they're helping a whole lot more people
Yep.
who then, you know, have
Have
better
family
marriages,
around
have
the country.
like
Yeah.
all of that stuff. I mean, it's the butterfly effect,
Yeah.
and that is incredibly gratifying, you know?
In the dental sleep world, I really do think of them as family as well. And, like, my son was going to the fishing mecca of Pyramid Lake in Reno, Nevada. I was like, "Oh, you need to go stay with my friend Jason."
Yeah,
And sure enough, Jason had a room for him, took him out to a steak dinner,
sure.
and he's like, "He's a cool dude." I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
Yeah.
So, just kinda having that extended family throughout the country is pretty great, and, that practical take home is exactly what we try to apply to the podcast as well, and I
Yeah.
think you said it best. Go ahead and share the, "so what?"
Yeah, so what, now what? So that's this framework we Aaron and I really focus on when we are considering guests. It's whatever these people are going to share, so what? Why does this matter to you, the listener? So what? Why do you care? Why would you care? And then now what? So now what are you going to do with this? You've learned this stuff. Now how are you going to apply it? And it's so important to us that it check both of those boxes. And, yeah, I mean, well, hell, Aaron, I met you at a course, I don't know how long ago was it? Do you know? Do you know the year?
That's I was gonna get to that, 2010 or 11?
Okay. So
Yeah.
I met you at a course, and it was on, I think, medical billing.
Mhm,
Is that right?
mhm.
And, well, hell, you how did you end up at that course? How do you I mean, all this medical billing stuff is something that people are just now a lot of people are just a lot of dentists are just getting into. You were hip to it 15 years ago. So how did you end up at that
It
meeting?
must have been 2010 then. So 2000, and I'll talk about me in a moment, but it was 2008, 2009 that I was at the Idaho State Dental meeting and heard, a sleep physician speak in the morning and then Jamison Spencer in the afternoon. He was famously from Idaho at that time. I was like, "Oh my gosh, we can be a part of this? This is amazing." So I went to the old Google, and there was only, like, 2 courses in the whole country, and they were actually both taught by the same person, Kent
Uh-huh.
Smith. Well, one was at LVI for, like, 4,000, and I was paying for my own CE back then, and one was in Dallas, Texas at his office for, like, a lot less, so it was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Um, and anyways, I went, got the bug, I came home, I'm like, "This is what we're gonna do." I was an associate at the time. My boss/partner, slash partner, soon to be partner, asked the consultant about the consultant's like, "This doesn't work. She just needs to forget about it."
Yeah.
I just dog on a bone, I could not let it go. It made sense to me. I felt like I was good at that detective work and kind of taking what was wrong with them and translating that sleep study to the eyes opening and them understanding finally.
Mhm.
And so then that next component, because I was just doing fee for service, that next component was getting the software because I was busy enough, and then medical billing. So it must have been 2010 because Medicare approved E046 January 31st of 2011, and I was one of the first ones to apply.
Hmm.
And so I went down to Orange County, my old stomping grounds, and walked into medical billing. You walked in, and by that break, we were getting on our laptops and going, "Look at this, and look at this." And it was like an immediate, like, excitement, connection, and I actually kinda haze out on what happened from there. Maybe we just kept seeing each other at dental sleep meetings
Yeah.
and evolved into a friendship and a authorship.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So where was your dental career? I mean, you mentioned California, you mentioned Idaho. So
I know, I'm all over the place.
yeah,
So,
so
grew up in
let
Orange County,
let's
California.
let's go back to, little Erin in her swaddling
Yeah.
baby clothes.
It's hard to not start with the starting of The Jerk.
Well, you're telling me what I said.
That close to
I
same.
was a hair away when I started.
That's how much we're on the same track. It was
That
probably the quirkiness.
tracks. That
Yes.
tracks.
It was probably the quirky that's why I pointed out that you were quirky because I think I am too, and I love it. So, grew up in Orange County, California. Really didn't think of life outside of California. Planned on going to UCLA like my dad did, who's a dentist. But I visited UCLA one weekend and Houghton College the next. 1,200 students, really small NAIA school in the middle of nowhere. And I signed on the dotted line and went for an academic and soccer scholarship to Houghton College near
Mhm.
Buffalo, New York, about 45 minutes out in the middle of nowhere. That's where I met my husband, Tom.
He was a student there too?
Yes, we won't talk about what kind of student he was. He was a PE major, and a fifth year senior. But after we got married and I graduated, I got into Creighton Dental School and spent 4 years there, graduated in 2003, and at that time, we were kinda looking as to where we wanted to settle for the rest of our life. I'm like, "I'm tired of moving, I wanna settle down." My family had moved to Vancouver, Washington, near Portland, Oregon by that time. We spent a couple summers there, and I bought a car and drove to New York, and we drove through Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and this is home. My husband had only spent time his entire life on the East Coast, and once he
Mm,
discovered dry heat, he had never experienced a West Coast summer. He's like, "Wait, I can have lakes and mountains and trees without humidity and bugs?"
yeah.
Sold. I
Sold.
try to remind his mom all the time that it wasn't me that stole him away, it was dry heat.
It was the dry heat. Yeah, that'll do
So I
it.
started at Post Falls Family Dental and was an associate for 8 years, had 2 boys, bought in half of the practice, introduced sleep.
About what year was that you bought in half the
2000
practice?
2000 oh, 11.
Okay.
It was I remember when Ken, um, allowed me to buy the software. It was a huge win, and then I talked him into buying a home sleep test unit for his associate. So I remember those were 2 big wins, and I kept proving the concept, and then when I bought in, I just made it happen.
Yeah.
And so it became a big part of our practice, and we kind of figured it out and got a flow. I hit the pavement, talked to physicians, got the medical billing down. Um, and so it was probably 11 years ago that someone's like, "Wait, you figured out this sleep apnea thing?
Mhm.
That's not supposed to be successful." They're like, "Could you teach us how you did it?"
Yeah.
And so you can ask Tom. I spent an entire winter, um, while they were out on the slopes. I was in the lodge working on my laptop, putting together a 2-day course.
Yeah.
But then I had no home for it until I met this guy named Tarun Agarwal, or T-Bone, and
Yep.
essentially he called me, he's
Shout
like,
out
"Come."
T-Bone.
Yeah, "Come to my" at that time, I was just doing in-office training or whatever, and, but anyways, I he's like, "Come teach my office," and I'm like, "Okay, this is how it works," and he's like, "No, this is how it's gonna work."
Yeah.
I have a teaching center above my office. We're gonna do a class. We'll invite people to come, and then that way my team can get trained for free, and I don't have to pay, you know?
Yeah.
Anyways, that was my first class.
That's a definite T-Bone
Yep,
move.
and I could name some of the people that were in that first class, and my greatest fear was public speaking. and I had to get over it really quick. I still have it. Um, but I think just kind of that practical and I realized how much I've done this my whole life. I always had a study buddy all through dental school. Shannon Jones
Mm,
was my best friend. We would study together all the time, and basically, I would go learn it all, and then I was like, "Shannon, this is all we need to know. This is the only important information out of all that crap that we
mhm,
learned. This is what matters." And realized that that's actually what I was pretty good at, and so I boiled down all I knew and how to implement it in 2 days as best I could, and
yeah,
the invitations just kept coming, so it was never a plan, but fortunately, my husband was, um, supportive. He's stay-at-home dad, now stay-at-home husband. He really I think there's not as many women speakers because it's really hard to do it
mm,
all,
mhm,
and the nice part is I don't have to do it all.
mm.
I have a partner at the office, and I don't even think I do 50% of the work at home.
Yeah. So I've always been impressed because it seems like all these different facets of your career or of your life are independently would be like full time, meaning like, oh yeah, Erin Elliott, she's got a bustling, busy restorative dental practice. And then it's like, oh, there's this other Erin Elliott. She has this bustling, busy, thriving dental sleep practice. And then there's this other Erin Elliott who, has this thriving speaking career. And then there's the semi pro pickleball player. And then there's this other Erin Elliott who's, this dynamic mother, wife, goes on these fantastic vacations, spends all his time with her family. So have you been cloned? Or, I mean, what do you h how are you able to do so much in the same 24 hours that we all have?
There's nothing magical. Um, my mom's like, "You have to fill every minute of every day, don't you?" And I'm like, "I can be efficient if I can get things done in this 5 minutes. Why wouldn't I?"
Uh,
I would say it's all teamwork. There's a reason I never played individual sports. At my dental practice, I sit back and sometimes I like tear up and just how proud I am of everyone working together. I know what my weaknesses are, so I complement it with a teammate that can make up for that.
mhm,
I know what my strengths are, I know what my weaknesses are, I delegate, I have teammates that we all put each other in we're all in the right seat and have amazing partners, that I know are holding down the fort when I'm gone,
mhm,
and we have systems.
mm,
So, I've also learned to not make it all about me,
mhm,
and I'm replaceable.
mm.
So I think you should replace me for next year's Transform Down Sleep with another speaker. Just kidding.
Too late. Too late. The digital promo images are cannot be altered. And I
No,
think
I'm not
and
magical.
wait, and I think you signed a speaker agreement, like, when I booked you at a meeting, like, 10 years ago. That one still applies.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I just think that, there's a lot of people that do a lot, and I'm not anyone special. It's just we're all capable, and I really am lazy. I do read a lot.
Yeah, I don't know if that's lazy. Come on. I'm a pretty
I can
avid
watch
reader as
TV
well,
with
and
the
I
best
don't
of
wanna
them.
call it lazy? Uh, so with you mentioned I mean, you've got this busy speaking career, right? It seems like every time I go online, you're popping up in an Instagram story that you're speaking here, there, everywhere. So but you also mentioned discomfort with public speaking. So what do you do to how do you reconcile those 2?
I look in the mirror and I'm like, "Come on, you got it. Pound my chest."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're
You
good
just want
enough.
yeah, you're
Gosh
smart enough
darn
and
it.
gosh darn people like you?
Um, I do give myself a pep talk. Uh, I calm my breathing. It was about when I was about to go on main stage at Dance Place Around the World in 2017. I knew I had a good talk and a good message and a fun way to bring it, and essentially a TED Talk. And this woman back behind, she had me drink water and lean over so that I didn't spill it on my dress, and she took care of me. And she kinda just grabbed me by the shoulders when I was, like, hyperventilating and looked me in the eyes, and she's like, "You know your stuff. You look beautiful. No one wants to see you fail."
Mm,
And I was like, "You know what? You're right. Just
mhm,
go out there and be good. No one wants to see a nervous speaker that says that they're nervous."
mhm,
I went to I started going to Toastmasters as soon as I got a first gig because 'cause I'm like, wow, okay, I better get good at this."
mhm,
And really learned a lot of tools and speaking, I guess, tricks and tips, and the
mhm,
beautiful part is anything I say yes to or agree to, I get to be myself.
mhm.
And that's one thing Toastmasters taught me too is don't try to be someone you're not. So, I try to bring that and try to bring practical and some humor and not puts people to sleep at a sleep apnea lecture.
Yeah, yeah, that's important. What about, so you implemented dental sleep medicine into the practice all those years ago. As a lecturer that most dentists that attempt to implement dental sleep medicine into their practices end up giving up and walking away from it.
Mhm.
How were you able to make it so successful?
Well,
What's different?
what's interesting is when I teach a course, right, and the attendees go away, like, they don't always report back to me like, "We're killing it." But with 3D Dentist now, I'm doing some ongoing, like, webinars and office hours and teaching and stuff like that, and there's some offices that are doing amazing, and I'm
Mm,
kinda like, "What is it about them that they figured out?" And one of the dentists told me, he's like, "You told me it was gonna be a long runway."
mm,
Like, a lot of things in dentistry don't take much to launch.
mhm,
And he's like, "You warned me that it was gonna be a really long runway, and most dentists stop before they're about to take off because they give up." And we just stuck with it. And now it's like, you get all the pieces in place, he goes, "It's just flowing now." I mean, it's the dam is broke.
mhm,
The patients keep coming, the system's in place. And I think some of it was that I had to create the systems. No one taught them to me.
mhm,
I didn't know what we were doing, so there was a lot of things I did wrong. That's why I feel like I can fast forward, like, 10 years of mistakes
mhm,
to for people,
mhm.
but I think it was the tenacity of, "This is gonna work." And it's
Yeah,
that's the competitive nature in me a little bit,
yeah.
a
Speaking
lot of
of,
it.
what's the deal with pickleball?
Oh, it's amazing, and you said semi-pro, so I was, like, looking up the definition. I think semi-pro means going into not going into debt, but going in the negative because you're paying them to go play. Is that semi-pro?
Sure. Not the way I intended it, but sure. So,
Yeah, I
but you are, and, maybe there are some that are more rabid fans, but it seems to me you're the most avid pickleballer I know.
hey, I'm just like I'm trying to get the message about dental sleep out there, I'm trying to get the good news of pickleball and how great it is for our country and people and society.
You're a pickleball proselytizer.
Exactly.
Yeah. Uh, what else? What else do people need to know about Aaron Elliott?
That I love what we do. I see a lot of negativity on Facebook and people that are burnt and drained and stressed, and the beauty of dentistry is that what we can create it to what we want it to be.
Mm,
So, whether that means putting down the handpiece forever and not having to deal with terrible Tammy, I think that's what it was.
toxic
Um,
Tammy.
Yes, toxic Tammy. Not selling out to DSOs, maintaining that ownership or be an associate if you want, but you really can make dentistry what you want it to be, and that's really special, and we get to help people even if we deal with the 5%, let's say, of jerks. Why are we letting them win? Why are we letting the bullies win? There is a
Mm,
lot of people that appreciate what we do, are grateful for what we do, and those are the people that I'm gonna take home with me and not the negative. And so if you don't like where you're at, you can get unstuck. You can change it. You can do something different. That's my
yeah,
message.
fix your life. Intentionally craft the life that you want to live and then live it. Do
Yeah,
it.
and I didn't mean to craft any of this, but I will definitely go with the flow. I never know, what I'm gonna be doing 10 years from now. I couldn't have ever dreamed of
Sure.
doing this, and I'm just grateful for the opportunity and meeting people like you and helping the patients that we do and hopefully, getting other dentists to get excited. And, you know, we especially now as more and more people are worried about their health and concerned about it and proactive, it's in a really good place to be treating sleep in the dental world.
Absolutely. There's a huge opportunity to do something that's rewarding in every definition of that phrase, rewarding from an altruistic, sort of soul feeding standpoint, from a financial standpoint. And who knows, one day you could even have your own podcast.
I'm gonna go get my husband some ice cream
All right. And
before it's too
thank
late.
yeah, and just thanks everybody for joining us and keep listening and we'll keep talking about sleep matters because
Sleep matters.
sleep matters.
Jason, it's an honor to do it alongside of you. Thank
Right
you
on.
for being a friend.
Oh, golden girl. All right, take care, y'all.
Sleep matters.